Hi everyone, I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Paperback Writer, and here's her story. Hi Ollie, it's Paperback Writer, formerly known as Anonymous. I thought it would be easier for you if I picked a pen name rather than you trying to recall which Anon I am out of a sea of Anon subscribers. I donated but was tempted not to because when you run out of donated stories, you threaten to unleash your Trump rants. Uh, I'm actually considering just putting a fee on the Trump rants because people do love them, even though the subscribers, they go down for a few days because everybody gets pissed. But then they like double like 2, 3 days later. So I would have to, I'll look at it. When you do that, I rub my hands together with glee and sit back and wait. I feel the exact same way about Trump and societal narcissism as you. I am frankly puzzled when other survivors do not. Love or hate Trump, how can survivors not see the media gaslighting and flying monkeys? The narcissist's sick determination to win at all costs, no matter the consequences. The retribution and payback for losing, the doubling down until others are worn out. The dogged hypocrisy and refusal of self-reflection and responsibility. And no, I don't believe the Russian collusion bullshit for 1 second. I immediately saw it for exactly what it is, a distraction. Exaggeration wrapped up in lies. It's hammered day in and day out. Pound, pound, pound until we are so numb that we almost start to believe that 2 scoops of ice cream on Trump's pie a la mode really could be a subliminal message to other world leaders. Personally, I wish he'd give Twitter a rest and use that energy on healthcare and tax reform, although Covfefe was pure genius. He had the media distracted for days on that one. I don't want him to give Twitter a rest because Twitter neutralizes the media. You know, I was going to make a video about this anyway, that, you know, everybody, the media obsesses over every tweet Trump makes, analyzes every tweet Trump makes. Well, what the hell did we do before the media started analyzing Trump's tweets? And we could read them ourselves. We can assess them ourselves. We can assess what he's writing. We're all intelligent. We can see. But the media is not there to inform you. The media is there to tell you what to think about it and how to feel about it. See, in the past, before, you know, social media got as big as it has gotten now, it's even larger than it was in 2012, you don't think it could get much bigger, but it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and more people get access to it. And what Trump figured out is, well, first off, what you have to realize is this media that we used to base our own opinions on, instead of them just informing us of what's going on, they all go out there and virtue signal and with their righteous indignation and basically tell you how to feel. And they do it in a way where in the past you're watching the news and you're thinking, oh my God, this is how everybody feels and I don't feel that way. What the hell's wrong with me? And that's how they would get you to fall in line. Thinking you're isolating you right out in the open. Making everybody who thinks the same way think that they're the only ones that think that way. And who's doing this? A couple of hundred people in Washington in the media. It's the same media heads that have been doing this for years. It's the same people doing this for years. It's one small narcissistic family that has control of mass media. But when you look at the grand scheme, they're a pinprick. They're a pinprick in a country of 350 million people. Yet you're letting this couple hundred people tell us what to think. Trump doesn't allow that because he could take an entire day worth of media narrative, starting with usually in the New York Times and the Washington Post, leading up to the cable news and the analysts and everybody coming on and telling you what to think and what Trump did this and he did that. And with Trump with one tweet, yeah, you're all a bunch of idiots and liars. Suck it, like basically. And it ends it. And it ends it right there. It gives him the opportunity to neutralize all their bullshit. And they hate it. The people who don't see it, who are so against Trump on the left like that and don't see, they do see it. It isn't about, because it comes at the end of the day, it's not about Trump. And I'm going to explain, put this the best example I can. And those of you who follow me on my Facebook, you guys know Bryce and Phil. And this has to do with Bryce. And Bryce got into it with somebody else I know over North Korea. And the other person was making all these excuses for North Korea and how, I guess, Trump was. It just didn't make any sense. And, those of you who follow Bryce know he's pretty vicious. And when I and I had to tell him, I'm like, not had to tell him, he knew it. He knew it because he laughed when I said it. I'm like, look, it ain't about the argument you're having, that we're having with most of these people on the left, isn't about the issue. The argument you were having isn't about North Korea. It's usually comes down to, when you get down to the common denominator, to whatever entitlement is showing up in their mailbox. So they're going to toe that party line because they don't want to give up that entitlement in their mailbox. So they will go along with it. And is that narcissism? Fuck yeah, it is. Fuck yeah, it is. That's the truth of the matter. I mean, that's what I found. And I know that's going to lose me a lot. A lot of people ain't going to like that. And it's going to lose me a lot of subscribers. I'm going to get a lot of hate mail. But that's what it comes down to. It comes down to an entitlement in your mailbox. That's what they were arguing. And if they got to argue about North Korea or Russia or whatever other fucking bullshit, or Kushner or Bannon or whatever it is, to protect that entitlement in their mailbox, that's what they will do. Period. Period. The other end of it is abortion. I'm not going to really touch that. But that's where it comes from. It ain't even about the issue. It's about the entitlement in the mailbox and who's going to protect it for them. So they'll go down whatever road they need to. But I love Twitter because it neutralizes all these media scumbags like that. Their narrative is shot, which is why the country lost confidence in Bush. Now, Bush wasn't a great president, we know that. But he just would stand there and let them eat. This isn't what's going on with Trump right now is no different than what was going on with George W. Bush. It was the same shit. This is what the left does when they lose. The only thing that saved George Bush was 9/11. But he didn't win Florida. He stole the election. He was not my president. He wasn't a legitimate president. He lied. Bush lied. People died. This is what the left does. This is nothing different. The difference is Trump says, fuck you, you lying scumbag. You stay in my hotel and I know exactly who you're fucking on the side. Fuck you, you lying scumbag. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And he will call him out. Something me personally and everybody I know who thinks the same way as me was begging Bush to do. That's why we back Trump. Right or wrong, he fights. And that's all we wanted. Which is why you watch me to begin with. Because I do the same thing. The same reason you come to my channel is the same reason I support Trump. And you guys don't realize that. The constant barrage of anti-Trump rhetoric sometimes triggers me so bad I can't watch the news. To clear my head and bring down my anxiety, I turn the TV channel and watch Snapped or Forensic Files or Homicide Hunter. I guess that means I filled my safe space with true crime shows. There is so much narcissism in the world that I did begin to think I was crazy and seeing narcissists around every corner. What I've come to realize is that I was raised to be a narc magnet. My parents aren't narcs, but they are Mormon. Both my parents were abused children and grew up very poor. I can understand how and why they gravitated to such an extreme religion. Growing up, I could not express any of my own thoughts that were contrary to Mormonism. I learned to never put myself first. I used to think that as long as everyone else was happy, it was okay that I wasn't. I used to say to myself, I'm over here bleeding to death in the corner, but as long as you're happy, that's all that mattered. I was not raised, I was raised not to disagree or question, and all that mattered was following the Mormon rules. I believed that didn't matter. In the real world, that meant very fluid boundaries. I put everyone before me, even going so far as to excuse rotten behavior. I was raped when I was 14. He was 16. I never told my parents because sex outside of marriage is really forbidden. It's such a shameful sin. I ended up dating my rapist for 2 years. In my 14-year-old Mormon brain, I thought I had to marry him someday. He was my first narc, the worst of them all. I hated him, but thought I was stuck with him for time and all eternity. When I was 16, I did manage to break up with him, but he stalked me for 2 years after that. He'd suddenly appear at a school function or step out from behind a tree. One time he waited in the bushes at my friend's house until 3 in the morning to jump out and interrogate me. It was December, and Decembers in Idaho are bitter cold. By the time I met and married my former husband, I was already a narc magnet. All his boundary pushing seemed normal, and walking on eggshells was second nature to me. The whole time I was married to him, I thought that someday he would change. His crazy behavior, well documented by my past letters to Ollie, had to change. He even said he wanted to change, but he didn't. Not ever. He's 55 and is still the same narc I married when we were 22. I've had a lot of female friends who are narcs also. Friends who wailed and sobbed, but never shed actual tears. I excuse their bad behavior and nasty comments, and I tell myself that they really didn't mean to call me stupid. And if they didn't mean it in a bad way. Why would you let any of these people call you stupid with all the successes you've had? That's crazy. That's the crazy thing. And for those of you watching, the writer is a New York Times best-selling author multiple times. So don't think, for those of you, I'm asking this rhetorically with all your successes, and this is for everybody. This person, you are a New York Times best-selling author. Yet you're letting your friends call you stupid. In the writing business, there are a lot of narcs, and I managed to go through my share. Each would eventually go so far that even I, the narc magnet, had to cut them out of my life. They're all friends. They're all friends now, united in their hatred of me, and I guarantee you, you're the most successful. That's why. You're a creator. And look, when you're a creator, you're an artist, there's a lot of jealousy, there's a lot of hate, and there's a lot of room for narcissism to grow. Okay? Especially when you're creating something out of your own mind. That level of competition, it's the worst. That's the worst type for a narcissist. That's why Meet Normus goes so crazy over this channel. That's why my father goes so crazy. Same thing as your friends. It's the jealousy of what you can create with your mind. It's your ability to succeed based on your own thoughts, your own creativity, your own whatever you have to personally offer is what they're jealous of. They're jealous of your ability to create. That's what they want you to, that's why they want you to believe you're stupid. The only thing that united in their hatred of you. That's all they got. How sad. How sad when their entire friendship has to be based on the hatred of another. That's narcissism, though. When you're no contact, it all becomes about their whole circle only exists based on the hatred of you. That's a tough linchpin, man. That is sad. That is sad when you know that they're only together based on you not being there, based on them being jealous of you. That's pathetic. They tell people that the reason I'm no longer friends with them is because I've always have to have someone to hate. Their stories of me turning my hate on each of them one by one sounds convincing. But what truly pisses them off most, I don't give a flying fuck. Not one. I've been dating a really good man for a year now, and recently I realized I've been waiting for subtle put-downs that never happen. I noticed that too. And I'll tell you where I noticed this with you. I saw 4 videos with Q&A you had done. Every question you answer it as if it's a put down. You're constantly looking for the put down. Constantly. And being a writer where critics and critiques is a part of the business, that you're living in a world of criticism, good or bad. I mean, that's just what being a writer is about. It's about critique. I mean, even doing this to a certain extent, that's what the likes, dislikes, and it's all about critique. You're looking, and I'm telling you, I watched all 4 of them. You're looking to be put down. You're looking to be put down. And you gotta, not everybody's gonna do that. So when you gotta make sure that you're not always on the defensive, because that can also come off to people as you not being friendly or looking for a fight. That's a tough thing to do. Passive-aggressive behavior that never occurs. He's a narc survivor too. He understands. We get each other. He's the only person besides you and your thousands of subscribers that I've told about the rapist narc when I was 14. And I only told him last week. He's the only person I ever trusted not to use my rape against me. If not for him, I'm sure he'd be hip deep in narcissist and dodging chaos. And that is a horrible way to live. Thanks again, paperback writer. Well, you're living on the defensive. You're living looking for the put down. Okay? And you got to look at yourself as you're as a writer, you're always open to criticism, but your successes speak for themselves at this point. You are past the point of worrying about what people think about you. Criticism. You're still looking for the passive-aggressive put-downs that probably date back to Mormonism and religion and the horrible, horrible. Just not even be able to tell your parents that you were raped. Same thing with Charlene, because she knows she'd have been blamed for it. Without a doubt. Without a doubt, she'd have been blamed for it. That's a lot to bear. That is a lot to bear on somebody. And, there's a lot of Trump connection, because it is societal as well, where you're bringing in the religion and the media and all of this. And I think why you probably shut them, it's the constant criticism. You're living in a world of critique and criticism. So like you just need a break, and sometimes you just need to numb out. And I get that. Believe me, I get that. So that's a good thing. As long as you have your outlets of your, not to call you a snowflake, but your safe space, as you call it, some place where you can just go and be, keep doing that. All right. But you shouldn't be looking for the put down anymore. And you're way past criticism. So thank you for all your support. Thank you for the half a Trump video, sort of Kekistan. I appreciate it. And thank you for the story and for sharing. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up a Skype chat, have a private phone call, private video made, Facebook chat, you'd like to sponsor a video for someone else, or just contribute to the channel and see it grow, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. And if you're still unclear, wait for the instructional video link to pop up at the end of this video. Please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. This is Ollie Matthews, and this has been The Narcissistic Resistance. Bye, everyone.